It's cold. You should go inside.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Thank you. This is where the warming center.
Yeah, this is where the warming center
Oh,
is.
thank God.
He was one of the persons came looking for a warming center as temperatures in Barrie dropped below 25 degrees Celsius on February 3rd. There are warming centers in city for people to escape the cold. We visited one of the centers located within Collier United Church at 112 Collier Street. It is operated by John Howard Society of Simcoe, Muskoka and opens at 8:30 p.m. only if the temperature is below minus 15 degrees Celsius. Executive Director Haley Murdoch Fife usually arrives an hour before to set things up. On Saturday, her son Cohen joined her, sharing her mother's passion for helping people. The center has a capacity of 18 people, but there are no beds, just chairs and the floor for people to sit on. In the dark and cold, people were waiting outside for the center to open. Haley became emotional when we inquired about the people waiting outside. I see when you let them in, I saw that, you didn't like that, they were waiting outside, until 8:30.
Yeah. So ideally, we would be open 24/7, but definitely once agencies close at 4:30 or 5, it would be ideal to be able to have a warming center open, because then when they're at agencies getting services, they can leave from there, go to the Salvation Army and have dinner, and then come to our warming center after. But that long break is when it gets the coldest. So they're just waiting outside and the library is not open.
Yeah, and I see, they were like hugging each other tightly because they were very cold, and one person was on the a wheelchair. So
Yeah.
People also have like health issues, and
Absolutely, and it's not negative 20 right now, so it's a titch warmer than what it was last night, and it's still severely cold, especially if you've been outside all day.
Moreover, we spoke to the staff of the warming center. On Friday, twin sisters Sydney and Lauren Margaret were on duty. In addition to working at the warming center, Sydney works part-time with John Howard Society and Lauren is a volunteer there. How long you have been working here?
Since it opened. The warming center first opened on the 23rd of December, and then it was open up until the 26th of December. We had that really bad spell of weather. And then the first time it was open again, I think, was this past Tuesday. And then this week it's open from, it was open from Thursday up until Monday night. So really bad weather this week.
And what kind of services you offer here?
Just a place for people to keep warm in the weather. A lot of the time there's no shelter beds available. People have nowhere to go. So it's just a place for them to keep warm, not freeze to death outside. Sleep if they want, take a seat, chill out, eat something, have access to a bathroom, coffee, tea, yeah, that kind of thing.
And what is the timing of the center?
We're open from 8:30 to 7:30 in the morning. The center opens if it's negative 15 degrees or negative 20 with the wind chill. Or if there's like really, really bad winter storms or really bad snowstorms or weather, they'll open sometimes then. For example, this weekend we're having really bad weather, so they extended the hours. We were open from 2 today, and then we'll be open until 7:30 the following morning. And then I think that's expected to go on throughout the weekend.
In terms of how do you how do you manage to get, for example, you both are working here, so do you know in advance that you would be working for the night, and how do you manage your schedule?
Sometimes we do. It depends. Like sometimes it's for sure going to be that cold out, so we need to open. Sometimes there's been a couple times where we've had to decide day of, just because the temperature kind of teeters between like negative 14 and negative 15. We can only open if it's negative 15 for 2 consecutive hours throughout the night. So sometimes it's kind of like a fine line between that. A lot of the time it's been tough for overnights, especially because they'll have to sleep during the day, so they won't get much notice before coming in for like a 12-hour night shift. But yeah, usually we'll have a little bit of a heads up just based on forecasted weather. But there have been nights where it's been kind of all up in the air. You just know the day of. Yeah.
So then if you are working, then you have to put, like, you can't take another job, and then this job is not even full-time or part-time?
Well, yeah, it's totally dependent on weather. Like I know, so for example, the people who worked the overnights from Thursday, had a pretty tough time just because like sometimes we're understaffed, we don't have people to come in. So sometimes very nice people will kind of take a day off from their day job, sleep, and then come in for an overnight kind of thing. So it's a lot about just, I guess, decisions, and if you're able to do that, you're able to do that. But we have had some problems getting staff, the reliable staff to kind of come in and work the center.
Yeah. And you also mentioned about the temperature, right? Sometimes if it hovers over 14 or even goes into 15 for an hour, you're not going to open.
Yeah.
So what about the people who use it? And like, how are they supposed to track?
Yeah, well, that's the problem. That is the problem. So before each shift, when it opens, we'll call all the shelters around here, ask if there's any beds available, and also just tell them to tell their clients or whoever might come by their center that we are open. We post it on our social media pages. If we know in advance, we'll obviously tell people and our clients in the actual John Howard office. But a lot of the time with that, the problem is we don't know. So it can be really hard to spread the word to people who need these resources.
And I was just, as I was struggling to, find a spot, there are a few doors, and I was thinking that, the water freezes at 0. So even if you are living outside, you can't drink your water because it's frozen, but the shelter doesn't open. And it seems that the paramedics, they have decided that if it goes below, last year it was 20, Haley was telling me that, but this year it's 15 because it's dangerous. You might die in that low temperature. Yeah. So it seems kind of cruel that only if you are you are going to die, then only you can come in and live in the shelter. Otherwise, if you are suffering, that's totally fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, what's the difference between -14 and -15? Or like, it's dangerous to be outside in like 0-degree weather. Like, who decides what is dangerous and what's livable? Like, it's crazy. I don't get it. I think if it were up to me, we'd be open every night in the winter. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's the temperature thing doesn't really make sense to me because I think any negative temperature is really dangerous to be outside in, especially for extended periods of time. So
a little bit about your background and how you come to start doing this.
Yeah, so I just graduated from Guelph with a degree with criminal justice and public policy, and I've been wanting to work at the John Howard Society for a while. So I started volunteering there in September, like my sister as well. And then from there, I'm in a position there, a paying role. I'm a record suspension caseworker and community service order coordinator. So I help people apply for pardons and then also help people. They'll get referrals from probation officers and then help people facilitate their community service hours as part of probation. So I do that there. Yeah, and so when John Howard got the funding to run the warming center this winter, I just decided to work here as well.
And you said you have some harm reduction supplies as well?
Yeah, we give out harm reduction here. So Lauren, do you want to hand me a kit or two from there, just so? At the John Howard office, we'll make up like little kits of harm reduction. So if they're IV users or depending on whatever they use, little kits of what they need to use safely. So we have all these made up, or we have bulk supplies available at the actual John Howard office. If people want a whole box of straight pipes or alcohol wipes or whatever they may need, they can have those as well.
I also went to the University of Guelph. I just graduated. We graduated in June of 2022. I graduated with a degree. It was a Bachelor of Arts in Science, so I specialized in biology and philosophy. So this isn't, I guess, the line of work I necessarily saw myself getting into, but yeah, I've been trying to get into something like conservation or climate change related, but this is still something I'm really passionate about, so I'm glad to help out wherever I can. I'm Laura Marguerite. Yeah, it's my first shift here at the Warming Center. So yeah, it's my first shift here. I volunteer with the John Howard Society, so I've been volunteering there for a couple months since September, I think. And yeah, like Sydney was saying, the Warming Center just opened, or has just started to be opened recently, so starting in December. They have like an on-call list of people. So we have an 8 to 11 shift and then an 11 to 7:30 or 8:30 shift. So yeah. I was called in today to do a 5 to 8, so I'm here for 3 hours today. I work retail part-time, so I guess it's kind of difficult to be on call sometimes because, especially to do overnights, like if I'm working in the morning, I obviously can't do an overnight here. So yeah, it can be difficult. Like I was at work today when someone from John Howard called me in to come tonight, so I finished my retail job at 3, and then I came home at 8 and I changed, and then I came right here for 5. So yeah, I could definitely see it being difficult with the on-call schedule for a lot of people who have regular full-time jobs or even part-time jobs. It could definitely be difficult.
And so you will be here
Today
until...
sucks. Well, I'm only here till 8 tonight, so I'm not doing the overnight, but I don't know, from what I've heard, just like supporting people, I guess, in whatever they would need, like restocking the food if needed, or making fresh pots of coffee, letting people use the washroom, making sure people are signing in and out. Yeah, I don't know, talking to people if they need it, or just letting them chill out and sleep if they want that as well. I guess just whatever the clients want.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, thank you. As Sydney told us, if it were up to her, the warming center would stay open all winter. With people living outside, they're faced with cold temperatures all the time, and activists and homeless people have been advocating for 24/7 warming centers. Haley told us that the organization would need $350,000 to run such a center for 5 months during winter. The city recently gave an additional $4 million to police. Do you think the city and county should collaborate in order to have all winter warming centers? Let us know your thoughts at deepak@barriecommunitymedia.ca. Thank you for watching.